Ba-bam, boom, boom, ba-bam, bum, bum, ba-bam, bum, bum, ba-dam, bum, bum, da-da-da. So, in the most of first most of all here, folks. So, good evening to you all, and how you guys doing? And please don't forget to share this around. Share, 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 share. Twitter, Parlor, what, anywhere, anywhere, including your friends. Share this around. And here's my couple message here for tonight. Stop being weak, do your own research, be a critical thinker. Stop believing this whole shenanigan, this whole propagandas. And enough of it, and let's get to the countdown, shall we? With this very special music. Go. You like that? Boom. So, here we go, folks. So, how you guys doing again this tonight? So, anyways, welcome to Asseylum Justin Villamor show. And yes, today is the very special one. And also, don't forget, doesn't mean that I'm gonna be going live tomorrow. No, the show will be going on tomorrow also with some guests, two wonderful guests on my show tomorrow. And you will see it with with your own eyes by tomorrow, 100% for sure. And uh, your ears are not deceiving you. Alright? You heard it right, and your ears are not deceiving you at all. I'm gonna be having a two wonderful guests on my show tomorrow, which is 5 p.m. Eastern or 6 p.m. Eastern, and that's something that you could that's something to tune in on. So enough of it, and how about oopsie, how about just some couple things here. So uh-huh. So boom. So let's get through it, shall we? JNW Foods has 2201 Birmingham Road, Unit 1, Scarborough, Ontario, which is one stop away. Yep, one stop after Shepherd and Wimley. 416-298-1350. It is my number one recommended place to go for grocery shopping, and I can tell you, you can find a best fresh local products there. Such a very environment, yep, such a very friendly environment. It's a place where you're gonna feel that your rights are being respected. And here's the most thing, folks. If you go in there without a mask, you're gonna feel like a normal, very normal person there. So it is something that um, it is something that based on my number one recommended places to go. It's important to show your support for small businesses, of course. And here is the most absolute thing. The things exploded. Oh man. So, boom. Yes. So, in the most of thing here, so hold on for a sec. Let me just go on and just redo this thing. Hold on. So, bingo. So, here is the most absolutely thing. As of right now, we're live at we're live in Twitch, YouTube, and Facebook. But in the anyways of it, here's some little moment clip of Chris Sky from in Andrew says, let's see. I tapped my own once. Sorry about that, folks. So, so here is the most thing here, folks. I'm pretty much sure things can be exploding here as of right now. Oh, see. So, oh, see, I'm getting distracted here. One thing now is kind of going on. Anyways, here is the most thing here. I'm pretty much sure internet exploded with this little moment of thing when Chris Sky had his say on Andrew says. How about this? Take a look at listen to this.
Are the most weakest people on planet Earth. I'm going to say it straight. If you weren't weak, we wouldn't be in this mess. I made Mothers Against Distancing, my nonprofit. Why? Because I know the fastest and best way to wake somebody up is by using their children. And a mother's bond with their child is stronger than all this propaganda they're disseminating. A mother knows their child shouldn't be in a mask 10 hours a day inside and outside at school. A mother knows the social distancing and all that is psychological trauma. So I'm seeing mothers standing up. What am I seeing from men? I'm seeing men shun me. I'm seeing men say, put on a mask. I'm seeing men put masks on their families. You know what you guys are? You're losers. If you're a man and you put a mask on your wife and children, you are a loser. Look at yourself in the mirror and repeat after me. I am a loser. Canadians are the most weakest people on planet Earth. I'm going to say it straight. If you weren't weak, we wouldn't be in this mess. I made Mothers Against Distancing, my nonprofit. Why? Because I know the fastest and best way to wake somebody up is by using their children. And a mother's bond with their child is stronger than all this propaganda they're disseminating. A mother knows their child shouldn't be in a mask 10 hours a day inside and outside at school. A mother knows the social distancing and all that is psychological trauma. So I'm seeing mothers standing up. What am I seeing from men? I'm seeing men shun me. I'm seeing men say, put on a mask. I'm seeing men put masks on their families. You know what you guys are? You're losers. If you're a man and you put a mask on your wife and children, you are a loser. Look at yourself in the mirror and repeat after me. I am a loser. Canadians are the most weakest people on planet Earth. I'm going to say it straight. If you weren't weak, we wouldn't be in this mess. I made Mothers Against Distancing, my nonprofit. Why? Because I know the fastest and best way to wake somebody up is by using their children. And a mother's bond with their child is stronger than all this propaganda they're disseminating. A mother knows their child shouldn't be in a mask 10 hours a day inside and outside at school. A mother knows the social distancing and all that is psychological trauma. So I'm seeing mothers standing up. What am I seeing from men? I'm seeing men shun me. I'm seeing men say, put on a mask. I'm seeing men put masks on their families. You know what you guys are? You're losers. If you're a man and you put a mask on your wife and children, you are a loser. Look at yourself in the mirror and repeat after me. I am a loser. Canadians are the
See.
most weakest people
Ano
on
po yan? Here's another thing from Chris Kai. Look,
This is the state of men in Canada. This is why we're in this mess. People keep saying, "Oh, I'm the reason that this is prolonging." No. The more you comply, if you haven't noticed, every time you comply, they move the goalposts and they make you comply with something else. If you didn't comply with that, they couldn't go to the next phase. In fact, it starts going the other way and things get open and you get your freedom back. If everybody just took off their mask tomorrow, what could they do? Fine all of Canada with a fake fine that's not going to show up in court anyway? If everybody opened their business tomorrow, what are they going to do? Send everything they got to all the businesses? It took them all their resources to shut down one business, and it took them 3 days with Adam Skelly's barbecue. So, what are they going to do if Canadians just stand up and say no? Absolutely nothing. But what are Canadians doing? Canadian men in particular, they're walking around on their knees wearing 2 masks, telling everybody that compliance is a virtue. Why? Because they're cowards. It's that simple. This is the state of men in Canada. This is why we're in this mess. People keep saying, "Oh, I'm the reason that this is prolonging." No. The more you comply, if you haven't noticed, every time you comply, they move the goalposts and they make you comply with something else. If you didn't comply with that, they couldn't go to the next phase. In fact, it starts going the other way and things get open and you get your freedom back. If everybody just took off their mask tomorrow, what could they do? Fine all of Canada with a fake fine that's not going to show up in court anyway? If everybody opened their business tomorrow, what are they going to do? Send everything they got to all the businesses? It took them all their resources to shut down one business, and it took them 3 days with Adam Skelly's barbecue. So, what are they going to do if Canadians just stand up and say no? Absolutely nothing. But what are Canadians doing? Canadian men in particular, they're walking around on their knees wearing 2 masks, telling everybody that compliance is a virtue. Why? Because they're cowards. It's that simple. This is the state of men in Canada. This is why we're in this mess. People keep saying,
and we have two more of Chris Kai. How about
and all they're
negative
learning is to wear
Chris?
this mask 24.
See,
And all they're learning is to wear this mask 24/7. They're literally making children wear the mask inside, outside, and some schools make them wear it while they eat, pull it down between bites, and eat it. And if they want to be able to breathe, they give them a little punch card, and every time you do a good deed or a favor for the school, they cross one check off. And after you've done a certain amount of good deeds, you can get a 5-minute mask break. You're literally allowing them to abuse your children to the point where they have to do work for air. And you think this is not bad for your children? You think this is not going to have a lasting psychological and physiological impact? You think that wearing a mask for 10 hours a day doesn't block the type of oxygen required to their little tiny brains that are still developing? You parents should be ashamed of yourselves. You can tell yourself any excuse you want. Look me in the eye and tell me that you're not harming your children. You know you are. And all they're learning is to wear this mask 24/7. I want to help everybody that wants to help themselves. Because I know once I help that one person, they're going to tell a whole bunch of other people. And those other people are finally going to grow a set of balls and they're going to stand up to this tyranny. Because it's literally all Canadians have to do is say no. And instead of saying no, Canadians are so weak minded and so pathetic. And I will use that word and I will say it again pathetic, that even knowing that all they have to do is say, I'm a Canadian citizen, I don't want to take your test, and I don't want to take your quarantine, they will still just shut their mouth, line up like a sheep, wait 3 hours, let them shove something way up your nose, and then pay so they can be forcibly confined. That's even worse than slavery. Slaves are forcibly confined, but they don't pay for it. So we got people so emotionally manipulated and so like disheartened and they're so weak that they will literally pay for their own forcible confinement. It's absolute insanity when they know that all they have to do is say no. I want to help everybody that wants to help themselves. Because I know once I helped that one person.
There you go. There you go. This is the most absolutely fascinating of it. Well, the most of thing here, folks, that in the most of thing, when it come to this whole shenanigans, well, in tell you, absolutely fascinating. Oh, really? Like, if you even wonder why, that's something that you need to figure out in your head. I won't even tell you because it's so obvious for me. I already know that the internet exploded when Chris Guy opened his mouth to it. See, he even went on saying that the rest of you are pathetic. Pathetic. You can say whatever you want, alright? You can say whatever you want about Chris Guy or the words that are used right now. And here is the most thing. If you got offended by the words that I used here, sorry, but screw you. I don't care about your feelings. I don't give a damn thing about it. Because the most important thing for me, the most important thing for me here right now in my show is to provide the most absolute best commentary. Alright? By meaning of it, covering it using words that can actually offend you. Because like I don't really care if I hurt your feelings or whatsoever. Just because the words that I used. So if you wanna go ahead and cancel me, go ahead. I'm not even afraid of your whole woke madness cancel culture. No, I'm not afraid of your thing at all. So if you wanna go ahead and spread tell your other leftists to cancel me, then go ahead. Go right ahead because you can shove that thing up your ass. I don't care about your feelings getting hurt because why? Once again, the most important thing for me is to provide the truth, provide absolute best commentary that I can do. So, I already said it, but but I can tell you, Patriots are basically still gonna go on my show. They said gonna go on my show. Yep, by meaning gonna go on and watch my show and listen to the commentary that I'm providing every single day, like from Monday to Friday and Sunday. So I said, Mukak, I don't care about your feelings getting hurt. Oh, I offended you with the words that I used. I hurt your feelings. Oh, sorry. Oh, no, it doesn't. work that way with me, alright? Doesn't work that way. Because, like I said, I don't give a single damn shit about your feelings being hurt. I don't care if I hurt your feelings or if I offended you. Why should I? Gee, for the honestly, why should I be? What's the even whole point of this? Is it hard for you to understand it? Because for me, in my own perspective, it's not hard for you to understand it, I'm pretty much sure. So, if you just say, I'm a Canadian citizen, this is a violation of the Charter Rights Section 6 and, well, and a direct violation of the Emergency Act for Import 1. So I'm gonna be refusing your test and your quarantine. Say no, and if they give you a ticket, say this. I'll gladly take your ticket because this is nothing but a piece of toilet paper that's gonna be flushed in toilet. I'm gonna find it in court and I'm gonna have this thrown out. Alright? That's how simple it is. When you think about it, that's how very simple it is. So, think about it, bro. Think about it. But us in the most frankly here, we can believe it in here. So, enough of it. And I'm about to show you some absolute phenomenal thing here. So, another thing that I can guarantee you is I don't do this for nothing. Don't do this for granted or whatsoever. Yes. So here is the most absolute thing here. Hold on. If you can believe this, if you can absolutely believe this, yes, if we're gonna be talking about busted codes, here's the most absolute thing about it. So basically, basically, yes, in the most basically thing here, folks. When you actually think that this is the most very outrageous thing ever, yes, it is totally very, very much. And not to be mentioned about it also, uh, if you're gonna be, like, here's the most thing. Yes. So, basically, Pastor James Coates is being held as a political prisoner. For what? For preaching and spreading the word of God, the gospel. Enough is enough. I'm really sick and tired of this. And here is the most absolutely non-human about this. So, so in a most of thing here, come to think about it. Yes. Come to think about it that uh basically uh basically yes. In a most absolutely basic thing here, folks, is a pastor being held as a political prisoner for basically what? For preaching the word of God, the gospel. But uh can tell you why. The government are so afraid because in communist government they want the people to be the government, like in communist government they want you to be loyal to them first for God. And when you do, you know, being so loyal to God first before the man, that's gonna drive them crazy. That's why they're so afraid with it. Yes, when you actually think about it, I'm not trying to be with, you know, I'm not trying to put out some specific things here or whatsoever, but but in the most of thing, in the most of thing is if you can actually believe it. Well, show your support for Pastor James Coates. Faith is essential, of course, which is gonna be for tomorrow's thing. We have number lockdown and we are all essential. So if you're thinking about what happened to the supposedly one-on-one interview with MVP Randy Hillier, haven't reached out to his office yet, and if you're gonna do it in person, then I'm gonna need some specific equipment. If you're gonna do it virtually, then I need to prepare for it. So uh, I'm not even sure yet if I'm gonna proceed with that, but I'm carefully thinking about it. And it's not to Chris Sky, he's little bit he's busy at the moment, so I won't even bother him. Like he's busy. I'm gonna bother him for now because he's busy helping people, and if you think about Bill, I reached out to JW Foods, but I'm gonna try to reach out again. But nothing happens. But either of it, I'm gonna go in and have a one-on-one interview with Phil. I mean Bill. Sorry, one-on-one interview with Bill. Yeah, Bill from JNW Foods. So let's read this little article from Post Millennial. As I wrote this column, Pastor James Coss is still in the Edmonton Remand Center awaiting his trial on May 3rd to 5th. He was arrested in mid-February for failing to comply with Jason Kenney's unscientific and unconstitutional health orders that restrict the freedom of Pastor Coates, sorry about that, and his Christ Life Church to worship God as God calls them to worship, unless the Justice Center secures his release from prison prior to trial. Pastor Coates will spend a total of 11 weeks in jail for provincial infraction that is not punishable by jail time. But he's being held as a political prisoner. That's, but anyways, our health order scientific, the Alberta government and governments around the world continue to restrict our rights and freedoms based on their belief that healthy people, asymptomatic people are significant spreaders of COVID. Hence the laws mandating masks and prohibiting normal and healthy interaction between people. The politician belief in asymptomatic spread is unfounded. A meta-analysis of 54 studies from around the world published by the National Library of Medicine found that within households which lacks which lack the safeguards applied by restaurant, businesses, and churches, symptomatic patients pass on the disease to household members in 18% of instances, while asymptomatic patients pass on the disease to household members in 0.7% of instances. This is confirmed by a separate, smaller meta-analysis and repeatedly asked the Alberta government to produce the science that would support the notion that asymptomatic people are dangerous spreaders, but to no avail. We're told that government policies are scientific, but when you ask to see the science, none is provided. This is all tyranny based on based on politics. But anyways, restraining the right and freedoms of the entire population for 12 months and counting and preventing millions of people from earning a livelihood has never been tried in human history as a way to beat a virus. Moreover, COVID survival rate is 99.7%, and this virus poses no threat to roughly 90% of people. Why not focus our efforts on protecting the vulnerable 10% and do so without harming the physical, mental, and emotional, social, and financial well-being of the entire population. Like most people, Pastor Paul and his church complied with health orders in March of 2020 when the world was terrorized by the fear-mongering predictions of Neil Ferguson of Imperial College. 1 month later, the data and statistics from government around the world tell us that COVID-5 warrants only a small fraction of the fear we subscribe to it. Further, once a virus is out and about, it cannot be stopped by destroying the economy by forcing people to reduce their social interactions to a two-dimensional computer screen or by closing houses of worship. As we progress, the government restrictions on our freedom to move, travel, associate, assemble, and worship made less and less sense. What became more apparent with time is a massive harm that lockdown inflict deaths from cancer surgeries and delayed surgeries dead from cancer because of delayed MRIs and CT scans, deaths from drug overdoses and suicides, unemployment, poverty, isolation and loneliness leading to stress, anxiety and depression, children told to live in fear, deprived of sports, recreation and healthy social interactions, and massive new debt that our children and grandchildren must repay. Backed by science and called by God, Grace Life and its pastors have displayed the courage to hold full church services since July of 2020 in the face of weekly harassment and intimidation by Jason Kenney's ever-growing army of health inspectors. Sorry about that. When the Alberta government argued at a March 4, 2021 court hearing that Pastor Coates should remain in jail for another 8 weeks, pending his trial in May. Crown Prosecutor Karen Turswood presented no evidence that full churches pose any threat to public health. The government's failure to provide evidence after nearly a full year of violating the child rights and freedoms of Albertans is a disgrace. Governments have had an easy ride these past 12 months, using news conferences to declare repeatedly that the lockdowns are scientific and evidence based. Pro lockdown media were and still are more than happy to spread the government's message of fear, citing meaningless numbers of cases based on unreliable PCR tests, which were never designed to diagnose COVID. Fortunately, the Alberta government cannot rely on press releases at the trial of Pastor Coates in May. The health orders themselves will be on trial, accused of unjustifiably, unjustifiably violating fundamental charter freedoms. The charter places the onus on government, not on pastor codes, to show that it is truly necessary and beneficial to violate citizens' rights and freedoms. In court in May, for the first time since lockdowns were imposed, the Alberta government will have to provide compelling evidence to support its theories. The government will have to show that COVID is an unusually deadly killer, when statistics Canada tell us it is not. The government will have to show that asymptomatic people spread the virus, whereas when science tells us that only sick people are serious spreaders. The government will have to provide actual evidence to support its claim that lockdown saves lives. Mere assertions won't suffice. The government will have to respond to the data showing that hospitals have already been overcrowded for many years, long before COVID arrived, and the data showing that ICU admissions in Alberta were actually down in 2020, not up. Last but not least, the government will have to answer for all of the massive harms that lockdowns have caused and are still causing, and prove that lockdowns do more good than harm. Currently, there is no justice for Pastor Cos in jail, but his trial in May will provide an opportunity for justice for millions of Albertans and millions of Canadians. That's the most very outrageous thing when you think about that. So, I keep saying here, it is the most it is. So, if you recall if you recall about the equal labels, basically Thursday, which is uh, March 11th, yes, it is where uh, it is where basically yes, Danforth, yeah, it is a business not being owned by Danforth Equal Labels, and then the one apparently printing of these stickers for you know Wuhan virus printing protocols, especially the stickers, especially the stickers telling you to social distance for and to put a face diaper on and other these craps. But anyways, So please don't forget to make a donation at gf.me/u/agayhk or at paypal.com/paypalme/procarbenton2. And also if you really like all of the works that I do here, especially the commentary, please show your support at patreon.com/asylumjustinvillamor. That's patreon.com/asylumjustinvillamor. And I would truly appreciate your generous supports and generous donations. And if take a look at this absolute wonderful buttons. I'm selling it right after. Just let me know and I'm gonna be so glad to get in touch with you about that. So, yes, yes, of course. You already know about this whole freaking thing, don't you? But most of anyway, uh, in the most of thing here, folks, uh, it's kind of thing here, folks, that when you actually think about this whole thing happening right now, boy, you're gonna have a lot of things to think about. And I can tell you, Premier Doug Ford is really on conflict of influence right now. Like I said on my video about League Legends, I said that's what I call a conflict of interest. And guess what? When you go and actually think about this whole thing, oh boy, I can tell you, it's just gonna go around and spin your head so much. And here's what was absolutely happened here at the Bell Media Studios. Yes. So, in the most of thing, they put some little caution tape on the door of the Bell Media Studios. I don't know, for little, I think they're trying to protect it. But the most thing here, uh, when you think about that, very much sure and Bell Media Studios is so freaking annoyed right now. So, uh, can even uh, can even wait for how this fitness will react. Right? Think about it. Think about it. Right? Think about it. When you think about it, folks, when MSM post try to cover everything and put some slander things like conspiracy theorists, anti-maskers, anti-vaxxers, blah 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 blah. all slander, all lies, well, that's something that usually is. Has to be aspect of the MSM when you think about it. Why? Because they literally want you to be afraid of everything. They want you to think that people are dying everywhere. Well, you know how it is. And pretty much sure the media party hates you for standing up for your rights and freedom. And they also hate you for having the balls to expose their lies and other stuff. So that's the way we think about it, bro. So tomorrow will be the usual time, 9 p.m. Eastern or 6 p.m. Eastern. So uh, when you think about this whole thing here, it's not think about that, don't you? So uh, basically, oh yes, you must have basically think here, folks. Uh, what's up to this COVID jails? I think there's more of them, but I don't know if you're gonna go investigate it. Who knows? And not in the most thing here, when you think about it, uh, this thing is thing here, here, and here go crazy. And if you think about the double standard, you know, they say, oh, you have to stay home, like, oh, but they go out travel, sneaking to, St. Barts and other parts of Arabia and going out to their cottage while telling everyone not to go to their own cottage. That's the amount of double standard because they don't believe in their own lies. Alright? They don't believe their own lies. Because if they do actually believe their own lies, then why would they why would they even bother to travel out there to somewhere, to a place somewhere is nice, sunny, good looking weather. So, like always the double standard was for them but not for me. But not for me, of course. Was for them not so much for me, don't you think? Well, here is what the Romans come to stars when you go in. Aside from Costco, yes. Don't go to Costco because Costco can get away with it because they're selling their products to their members only. So if this, little bullies try to go after you and saying, oh, where's your mess? Where's your face diapers? Tell them I am exempt. It's a violation of your human rights, violation of child rights, and Not only that, tell them they can always come to the longos and stuff. If they try to, tell them they're violating the whole section 2 of the bylaw by format 2020. So, idiots, they're Karens or whatsoever, good luck on it. Well. By the way, I have some Twitters here, so if you want one, please let me know. And deliver it to your mailbox and stuff. So now we got another. So that's it. So thanks for tuning in. Thanks for paying attention to my show. So as always, we have as always. Don't forget do to stand up for what's right. And yes, I totally ran out of time, so we'll be signing off now. So uh, see you guys tomorrow. Yes, see you guys tomorrow, and have a good night. Have a nice evening, and have a good night. See ya. Bye.